that's the problem. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So they had seized back his signing bonus, and they had said, "Look, you didn't report to training camp." Okay. So they seized back his signing bonus, and and I think we didn't really get to this, but just the point of like that training camp was going to be, I think, and others around the case, like this was the tipping point for Aaron and why Odin Lloyd, whatever reason he killed Odin Lloyd, everything was coming to a head because he could hide out until training camp.
Right,
Once training camp hit, Alexander Bradley were going to know exactly where Aaron Hernandez is going to be every day.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if he's in California in the off season, then he's running around, he's got the flop house, where is he? You don't quite know. Oh, he's going to report at 7 a.m. to Gillette Stadium every single day, and he's going to leave. So if you're trying to kill someone and you know exactly where they're going to be, it's a lot easier to kill him.
Well,
so I think that was what it was.
And you're talking about a guy in Alexander Bradley, which we already talked about, shot up a bar on video, didn't care.
And he's sending text messages saying, I got 40 wolves, I got guns, I've got he's threatening, I'm going to kill you. So the training camp was going to be this big thing. But anyway, Aaron doesn't show up, so he's in violation. So does Aaron think if he kills himself, then Shayana gets the money? Maybe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the civil suits, the lawyers, all of that, they're going to take all the money.
Yeah.
Correct. From
the Patriots are going to fight to the death legally. They're not going to give. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay. And we're still not even sure if contractually does this argument work in an NFL contract. So he may have thought that, but this is hardly a foolproof plan.
No,
but again, this is a guy who's desperate. He's in prison at this point for 4 years. He's broke. He's suicidal, obviously. Nothing good has happened.
Yeah, and then ultimately, though, with abatement, when he did kill himself, they did overturn the conviction, but the State Supreme Court of Massachusetts came in and said, listen, it's an antiquated law.
Right.
It doesn't fit for this case, so they put the conviction back on. Correct, Dan?
And they rewrote the law. Yeah. So he is a convicted felon. So, but yeah, the money, was the money it? My personal opinion with Aaron and watching Aaron, that whole second trial, it was only 5 days after the second trial he killed himself.
Yeah.
He's a 27-year-old kid now, 27-year-old guy. He goes into 23. Like I said, he made the NFL. I don't want to say kid. He made the NFL as a kid. Played for 20 to 23 in the NFL. He's out in the NFL. He's now got 4 years in. He's facing like 50 to 55, 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how miserable life is. He loved the trial. He got to dress up. He got to go to it's anything. Like, you're in a miserable spot.
Right.
And maybe you get out. Baez teams, it's like he was enthused, he's excited, we're going to win it. But I just think that the weight of all those years is so significant that he just killed himself. But, I don't know whether there was a real financial plan there. It's just one of those things we don't know.
Dan, before he died, he never, ever admitted to homosexuality, or I guess it would be bisexuality because he had a baby. Right. He never did, correct?
I believe he discussed it with his he acknowledged it to his lawyers.
Okay, that's right, he did.
And his brother knew, I believe, I'm almost certain. He definitely discussed it with his lawyers about it.
Okay.
He never told Shan. He never said anything publicly, but he didn't say anything publicly. The last whatever.
I know 2 days before he committed suicide, I know there was a Boston radio station, right, that came out and said they had information that Odin Lloyd knew that he was gay or something to that effect, and that's why he killed Odin Lloyd. That was never that wasn't the case, right? But isn't that what the radio station said?
That is. That is what was said on the air, and whether that sprung him like the embarrassment of it or whatever. Obviously, there was a lot of people knew he was gay. They thought about bisexual, whatever. They thought about he was getting communications in prison from people who was in prison at that point. There's a number of people around that he had been with, and the prosecutors knew, the lawyers knew. Anybody really following the case knew that there was at least a heavy rumor. They talked about, introducing it as testimony. So a lot of people knew. It got reported publicly and then got discussed on the air. And did Aaron hear that? And did that spur him to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
The only thing is that suicide was very well planned out. Okay. He had acquired like some boxes to jam the door of the cell. He had acquired enough shampoo to make it slippery. He had, been able, I don't know how long it takes to create the noose. He had plotted out basically with a Bible, I was going to put a drop of blood against this verse, the different things. I don't think it was like a spur that to me, and you guys know better than me, that doesn't strike me as that's it. I'm in a panic. I'm going to kill myself right now type of suicide.
No, that was planned out. And he was high as well. He was on K2.
Yeah.
Oh, was he really?
Synthetic marijuana. I mean, people say, he was in jail. You get a lot of drugs in jail, unfortunately.
I mean, we do see a lot of some suicides are a little bit more spontaneous than others, but you do see a lot of planning, and I think it's cathartic to the person. I mean, I'm not trying to glorify suicide at all, but I've talked to family members that are like, I've never seen them so happy right before they commit suicide. And usually you tell people that they know the end is close and they're whatever pain they're going through or whatever is going to stop. So that's, they know there's an
That's
out.
interesting.
And it's sad. It's terribly sad to think that somebody has to, find joy in the fact that they're going to end the pain. But
you look at this case, how many lives were just,
wrecked.
Dismantled, wrecked. I mean, so many.
Me looking at all of this, we talk about sloppiness, right, Dan? You talk about, you talked about how many things he left behind. To me, it almost is like he didn't give a crap. You understand what I'm saying? Like he
right.
It was like so much self-loathing that he didn't care if he got caught or not. I don't know.
Or almost was yelling out to get caught.
It's almost like, that's what kind of screams out to me is, you could have taken 5 minutes, like you said, to look under the seat. If you pick up the shell casings, there wasn't even an attempt to try and clean up anything. And so, afterwards, you had her throw the stuff out, the girlfriend and stuff. But in the moment, it was almost like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that sticks out to me a lot.
I think there's something to that. And certainly you think about the pressure of waiting to get caught.
Right. Yeah.
Again, we go back to what I said. You're waiting to get caught for the double. Right. You're waiting for the NFL to catch you with the weed. Right. You're waiting, and then, that gets you, whatever. It's all coming down. And now you have a guy trying to murder you.
Right.
Like, how are you sleeping? How are you? You would be so scared. And you're about to have to start this training camp where you're literally every day, whether it's going to happen or not, you're going to drive to and from work every day.
Yeah.
Expecting someone to pull up to a stoplight and blow you away, murder you.
Yeah, that's almost a prison in itself.
Pressure that, right? So they said when he got to the jail, he was relaxed.
Yeah,
that's what the warden said and all that, and you can take, but he fit right in, and it's almost like, hey, you know what? It's finally over. I'm finally caught, and no one's going to kill me in here. In the county jail, right? I'm safer in my own cell than I was driving around. In the documentary, we have these jailhouse calls, and in one of them he talks about how I didn't have my freedom. He's talking to one of his assistants, and he says, "Well, I don't have. There's only one thing I don't have now that I had before." And the guy says, "Your freedom." He goes, "No, I didn't have my freedom. It's my daughter."
Yeah,
and that was really all he missed. And I think that was super telling. It's like what I didn't have was my freedom. I wasn't free.
Yeah, the other
just enormous pressure.
The other thing that was real telling to me, which I looked at it and I said, yeah, a lot went on in this guy's life, but ultimately he did what he did, right? And so the one thing, Dan, when his agent calls him and says, "I'm still trying to get deals for you," and he says to him, "Can you get me a deal with Smith & Wesson?" I was like, okay, this guy's off, right? Yeah. I mean, a lot going on there, but man, you're going to say that on a jail call to boot.
How about when you listen to those tapes that we have, and there's hours more.
Yeah.
If you listen to those tapes, I don't believe, I'd have to rewatch the documentary, at any time he speaks in the same voice to any person. Yeah. He's a total chameleon. He talks to his mom one way, his assistant another way, his agent, his girlfriend. It's like he could operate in all of these different ways. Like the Smith and Wesson line is, you can take it as pure gallows humor. It's really funny, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a funny line. It's sick, but it's like, okay, like he's cracking jokes with this guy. And at the same time, he's despondent, and obviously days, you can't be miserable for every hour of even in prison. You can't be happy, obviously, every hour. But if you look at it, like Robert Kraft, the guy, and Alexander Bradley was the guy, and all the different people. And that's why you get this, there's only a couple people that have been around him the whole time. And you get Patriots players going, man, we thought he was a little wild maybe, but man, he's a good guy, or I don't know. Or people say, well, you don't know him. Nobody knew everything about him. Like nobody, his fiance knew a lot. She didn't know he had a different lifestyle, right?
Sure.
His friends that were he grew up with knew him as one way, but they didn't know that he was hanging out with Alexander Bradley. Alexander Bradley didn't, like everyone, it was all these little pieces. And so you think about a guy living all of it and can finally just be in prison to like, I don't know. I wish we had those answers.
Again.
That's why Baez and those guys were stunned that he killed himself.
I just think
nobody knew him.
I think the one thing he was really good at was compartmentalizing. I said it earlier because there were so many things. I just want to touch on, a lot of people say because he wasn't able to come out and live who he was, that there was a lot of rage in there. And I think there's truth to that. There's obviously, there always was a stigma, right, of being a gay player in the NFL, right? How has that been reversed, if you will, Dan? The NFL's gotten a lot better. Sure. Has it not?
I would think so. I think society's gotten a lot better really quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? But I don't know. It would still seem to me to take enormous
courage
to come out both just quietly and let alone publicly.
But we're seeing a lot more players do it. So
right, but
and I think everybody now. I mean, I guess my thing is most people in this country know at least one person who's out.
Sure,
if not many. And that's important, right? So you start realizing, like, but is football still this macho thing? And is there also this bit where it's like, don't ever give them another reason to cut you or look down on you, right? It's like so competitive. I don't know, but when he was there, he clearly felt that had to be something to protect, with everything he had.
I still, Dan, though, I think that you have the specter of his father. What an influence, and I don't know how accepting it would have been had he come out to his father. So I think that really formed his
mindset,
his intense need to keep it hidden because God forbid his father found out. He saw what he did to his mom. I mean, who knows what he would have thought he would have done to him had his father found out.
Yeah,
I think that
that might have been a problem, even if his father had been alive and he was doing successfully. How do you come out, right?
Agreed.
We have the stuff in there, the other players that had to deal with it. It's such an emotional thing.
The last topic I want to hit on, which I think is an important one, CTE, it's chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Don't try to say it 3 times fast. Basically, it's injuries to the brain.
Head trauma. Yeah.
They, once he killed himself, the Hernandez family donated his brain. And I know, I don't have her name, Dan, you may, but there was a world-renowned brain surgeon, brain doctor that researched his brain. And she really specializes in Alzheimer's, but it's all kind of related, right? And dementia and all that stuff. And so they said he had advanced CTE. My thing is, though, there's other players, there's other people in life, and it doesn't have to be a football player, that have CTE. But at the end of the day, you're not murdering people. So that's kind of where I am on that. What about you, Dan?
I look at CTE, wrote and talked to so many different people about it. You do have these incidents, right? Okay, so, does OJ have CTE? There was a guy who played for the Patriots for a bit. He had a mass murder down in South Carolina where he shot up a bunch of people last year.